One of the most undeniably iconic figures in the history of tennis is Roger Federer. For years, Federer had been dominant in the sport, formerly being the #1 player in the entire world. With that being said, all good things must come to an end. Federer was recently forced to announce his retirement, leaving behind a legacy of excellence and sportsmanship. In this video, we'll be going through everything that led to Federer's retirement, including the surgeries he went through, his final appearance on the court, as well as his perspective on the situation. Stay tuned to the end to hear not only what scares Federer about his retirement, but what excites him as well. First, why was Federer forced to retire? As the Swiss tennis star is 41, he certainly wasn't forced to retire at the height of his career, which makes the situation somewhat less unfortunate. The 20-time Grand Slam champ had likely done all he was going to do in his career before announcing his retirement, and it's a smart move on his part to enjoy the rest of his life without exacerbating his injuries any further. This brings us to the actual reason for Federer's retirement. For the past 3 years, Federer has been dealing with a nagging knee injury that he was never able to fully recover from. As he explained in a recent Twitter video, he was attempting to reach peak form once again, but he understood that his body was not going to allow that to happen. As he said, he has played tennis for 24 years, competing in over 1,500 matches, and he realized it was time for his career to come to a close. He then went on to announce his last match. He would go on to say that he never saw his life turning out the way that it did, and that he's incredibly grateful to have gotten the opportunity to be as successful as he was. In his own words, he said, "I consider myself one of the most fortunate people on earth. I was given a special talent to play tennis, and I did it at a level that I never imagined, for much longer than I ever thought possible." It's good to see someone so successful showing such a high level of gratitude. Due to the aforementioned knee problems, Federer missed well over a year of competitive play, showing that it was likely the right time to give up the sport when he did. So, what surgeries did Federer undergo in an attempt to get back to competitive shape? Next, what were the specific surgeries that preceded Federer's retirement? Retirement wasn't the first option for Federer when his knee injuries became apparent. He began by undergoing multiple surgeries in an attempt to return to competition. The issues appear to have begun in 2016 when Federer had surgery on his left knee. This appeared to keep him in competitive shape for several years until 2020. This is when the issue got worse and led to him having to take significant time off, undergoing 2 surgeries at the beginning of the year. He would eventually make his return to action, but was forced to undergo a 4th knee surgery after Wimbledon. He would lose in the quarterfinals of this event to Hubert Hurkacz. This 4th surgery was when Federer decided that enough was enough, and that he was better off retiring. This announcement was probably the smartest move Federer could have made for his long-term longevity. The fact that he had to undergo so many surgeries in such a short time showed that his knee likely would have only caused him more problems if he had decided to keep competing. Especially with all the quick movement tennis requires, it is an especially taxing sport on athletes' knees. Federer chose long-term comfort and health over the short-term potential to win a few more championships, which seems like more than a fair trade. These injuries, of course, led to what would be his final match. When and where exactly did this take place, and who was it against? So, when did Federer's last match officially take place? Federer's last match came after his retirement announcement in September. This allowed him to have the send-off he deserved as a true legend of the sport. Federer announced his retirement on the 15th of September 2022, with his final match taking place a week later at the Laver Cup in London. Federer would go on to have a match with his close friend and rival, Rafael Nadal, which served as the perfect swan song for the superstar. The match would take place at the O2 Arena and saw both Federer and Nadal getting incredibly emotional throughout the poignant matchup. Nadal and Federer have a storied history of facing off against each other, so there really could not have been a better opponent for his final match. The pair first faced off in 2004 at the Miami Masters, marking nearly 20 years between their first and last showdown. Nadal is several years younger than Federer and at 36, likely still has several years left in his career. Luckily for fans of Federer, this wouldn't be the last time he ever stepped on the tennis court. This simply marked the end of his competitive career, with the superstar still willing to perform at exhibition events. Shortly after his final competitive match, he would play at Uniqlo's Lifewear event in Japan. With Uniqlo being one of Federer's most recognizable sponsors, it makes sense that he would still be willing to show up for them. It appears that Federer's knees are still able to handle casual play, just not the highly competitive version of the sport he was used to for so many years. Only time will tell if Federer will make such exhibitions a regular part of his schedule, or if it will become an increasingly rare sight to see the former champion play. So with all this being said, what did Federer have to say about the situation he now finds himself in? Moving on, what still scares Federer about his injuries after his retirement? Ever since announcing his retirement, Federer has been very open about his feelings surrounding the whole situation. As we've already mentioned, he has expressed immense gratitude for being able to play the sport at a high level for as long as he has. Being a natural athlete, you may think Federer would be looking forward to trying out other sports on a more casual level, but this does not seem to be the case. As Federer has revealed, he is worried about injuring himself further, so it seems other sports are off the table for now. It makes sense that he'd be able to play tennis comfortably, what with knowing the sport and its movements better than almost anyone. However, with other sports being unfamiliar to him, the risk of injury is likely much higher. As Federer said himself, "I'm still a bit scared when it comes to other sports. My knees are so that has to wait." While Federer is still worried about further injuries, it's good to hear that he does not seem too concerned about leaving tennis behind. With many athletes at his level, retiring can be an incredibly difficult situation, but Federer appears to be transitioning into his new life with grace and poise. Although it's probably not how he wanted to go out, what did Federer say was the major silver lining in all of the recent developments? Finally, what is the silver lining to all of this for the tennis legend? As previously mentioned, Federer appears to be very gracious for the opportunities given to him throughout his career and is looking forward to his retirement. While many athletes struggle to fill their time after retirement, it appears that Federer will not struggle with this issue. As he explained, being a competitor at his level led to a highly stressful life. He was often always faced with his next match and struggled to enjoy his time off fully because of it. As he explained himself, "In the past, holidays always had to be relaxing because my tour life was so stressful. Now the holidays can be more adventurous." In many ways, now that he's retired, Federer has more opportunities in his life than ever. At 41, he's still relatively young, and with the fortune he's accrued across his career, he could do practically anything he wants. As he said, he now has the opportunity to be more adventurous in his leisure time, instead of being forced to relax and recover. Like Federer said in his retirement announcement, he has a lot to be grateful for looking ahead. Hopefully, the tennis legend's knees can make a full recovery, and his injuries don't follow him too far into his retirement. As Federer genuinely seems like one of the nicest guys in the sports world, we're wishing him nothing but the best in his retirement. What's your favorite memory from Federer's career? With so many matches and championships to choose from, what are some of the highlights of the Swiss legend's storied run? Do you think Federer made the right decision retiring when he did? Or do you think he had a little more left in the tank? Were you able to catch Federer's last match against Nadal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Some fans call me that. I don't call myself that.